Dear students, I will be teaching you control systems. Before starting control systems, I want to do some prerequisite in the form of Laplace transforms. So how do we define Laplace transform? Laplace transform of a function, Laplace transform of a function x of t is defined as follows. Laplace transform of x of t is equal to x of s. Once you find Laplace transform of a function, correct, you have to use capital letter. X of s means always capital X. X of t means always small x. Please note that. This is by definition. If you put a triangle and equal to, it means by definition integral 0 to infinity x of t into e to the power minus st dt. This is how Laplace transform of a function x of t is defined. Lower limit of integration is 0, upper limit of integration is infinity. In this equation, s has got the unit time inverse. Unit of t is seconds. Correct, no? So s should be second inverse. So that second inverse into second is dimensionless. Very, very important. So s has a unit second inverse. Now I will tell you important properties of Laplace transforms. Some important properties I will give without proof. Important properties. First property is linearity. If Laplace transform of x1 of t is equal to x1 of s and Laplace transform of x2 of t is equal to x2 of s, then Laplace transform of a1 into x1 of t plus a2 into x2 of t equals a1 into x1 of s plus a2 into x2 of s. Very, very important property. This property is known as linearity property. If Laplace transform of x1 of t is equal to x1 of s and Laplace transform of x2 of t is equal to x2 of s, then Laplace transform of a1 into x1 of t plus a2 into x2 of t equals a1 into x1 of s plus a2 into x2 of s. Second property is shifting in time. I'll give the definition. If Laplace transform of x of t is equal to x of s, all s domain functions are denoted by capital letters. If you write x of s, it always has to be capital X, and the quantity inside the bracket is small s. Small s is a variable. Whenever you write a time domain function like x of t, you should always use a lowercase letter like small x. If Laplace transform of x of t is equal to x of s, then Laplace transform of x of t minus t naught is equal to e to the power minus t naught into s into x of s. This property is called as shifting in time. I repeat. If Laplace transform of x of t is equal to x of s, then Laplace transform of x of t minus t naught is equal to e to the power minus t naught into s into x of s. Third property, shifting shifting in S domain. Shifting in S domain. If Laplace transform of x of t is equal to x of s, then Laplace transform of e to the power s naught into t into x of t is equal to x of s minus s naught. What this property means is, if Laplace transform of x of t is equal to x of s, if you multiply x of t by e to the power s naught into t, in x of s, s gets replaced by s minus s naught. Since s is getting replaced by s minus s naught, it's called shifting in s domain. Fourth property is scaling property. Scaling property. If Laplace transform of x of t is equal to x of s, then Laplace transform of x of at is equal to 1 by a into x of s by a. What it means is, if you multiply x, if you replace in x of t, if you replace t by at, in x of s gets replaced by s by a and gets multiplied by a quantity 1 by a. This property is called scaling property. Fifth property, differentiation in time. Differentiation in time property. Differentiation in time. If Laplace transform of x of t is equal to x of s, then Laplace transform of dx of t by dt is equal to s into x of s minus x of 0. X of 0 is the value of x of t at t equal to 0. If x of 0 is 0, then Laplace transform of dx of t by dt is s into x of s. That means, in the absence of initial condition x of 0, d by dt is equivalent to s. Please note this. This is called differentiation in time property. Next property is differentiation in s domain. Differentiation in s domain. If Laplace transform of x of t is equal to x of s, then Laplace transform of minus t into x of t is equal to dx of s by ds. What I mean by this property is, if you multiply x of t by minus t, x of s gets differentiated with respect to s. Since x of s gets differentiated with respect to s, it is called differentiation in s domain. Seventh one, differentiation in s domain. Next is integration in time property. Very, very important property. If Laplace transform of x of t is equal to x of s, then Laplace transform of integral 0 to t x of t dt is equal to x of s divided by s. I repeat, if Laplace transform of x of t is equal to x of s, then Laplace transform of integral 0 to t x of t dt is equal to x of s by s. If you integrate x of t, x of s gets multiplied by 1 by s. This is the understanding of this property. Integration in time property. Differentiation in time, differentiation in integration in time, we have studied in network theory also. Next property, convolution property. convolution in time. Convolution, I hope you have studied in maths. Your teacher in signals and systems will teach you in great detail. Here I'll just give the property. If Laplace transform of x of t is equal to x of s and Laplace transform of h of t is equal to h of s, then Laplace transform of x of t convoluted with h of t is equal to x of s into h of s. Laplace transform converts convolution into multiplication. Laplace transform of x of t convoluted with h of t is x of s into h of s. Very, very important property. Next we go to initial value theorem. Initial value theorem. If, see, we define what is called a causal sequence. What is a causal sequence? A sequence x of t is said to be causal. Is said to be causal if and only if you write IFF, it means if and only if x of t equals 0 for t less than 0. That means it's not sequence, a function. A function x of t is said to be causal if and only if x of t equals 0 for t less than 0. If Laplace transform of x of t, before that I'll write, let us consider a function, a causal function. Let us consider a causal function x of t having Laplace transform x of s. Then x of 0 is equal to limit t tending to 0 on x of t is equal to limit s tending to infinity on s into x of s. That means it is possible to find the initial value of x of t without finding inverse Laplace transform of x of s. Please note that, but this theorem is applicable if and only if x of t is 0 for t less than 0. That means x of t must be a causal sequence. Next I will move to the last property called final value theorem. Final value theorem. Let x of t be a causal sequence. Let x of t be a causal sequence having Laplace transform x of s. Then x of infinity is equal to limit t tending to infinity on x of t is equal to limit s tending to 0 on s into x of s. So I read the property. Let x of t be a causal sequence. Causal sequence means x of t is 0 for t less than 0. X of s is the Laplace transform of x of t. then final value of x of t, that means value of x of t at t equal to infinity, can be found without taking inverse Laplace transform of x of s in this manner. Limit t tending to infinity on x of t is equal to limit s tending to 0 s into x of s. This final value theorem is applicable only when all the poles of x of s are on the left hand side of the s plane. That means no poles of x of s should lie on j omega axis or on the right hand side of the s plane. What do you mean by poles? Let me explain first. See, briefly I will tell you poles and zeros. Let us consider a function. Let us consider a function x of s is equal to s plus 1 into s plus 2 divided by s plus 3 into s plus 4. Roots of the denominator polynomial are called poles. Roots of the numerator polynomial are called zeros. So let me write roots of the denominator polynomial. The roots of the denominator polynomial of x of s are called poles, and the roots of the numerator polynomial of x of s are called zeros. In the present context, what are poles? In the present context, what are poles? Poles are s plus 3 equal to 0 implies s is equal to minus 3. S plus 4 equal to 0 implies s is equal to minus 4. What are zeros? Roots of the numerator polynomial. S plus 1 equal to 0 implies s is equal to minus 1. S plus 2 equal to 0 implies s is equal to minus 2. Roots of the numerator polynomial are called poles. So roots of the denominator polynomial are called poles. Roots of the numerator polynomial are called zeros. S plane is a complex plane having real part sigma, imaginary part j omega. This is S plane. In this plane, let me plot poles and zeros. This is the symbol for poles, and this is the symbol for zeros. We have got zeros at minus 1 and minus 2. We have poles at minus 3 and minus 4. In this problem, poles are simple poles. If you have got here a quadratic function, you may get complex conjugate poles. So poles need not be always real. Poles can be real, or it could be complex also. So what is important is, if you equate denominator to 0 of a function x of s and find the roots, they are called poles. If you equate the numerator of a function to 0 and find the roots, they are called zeros. Into mark represents poles. A small 0 is the symbol for zeros. We have plotted poles and zeros in the S plane. S plane is a complex plane having real axis sigma, imaginary axis j omega. So now, why I introduced the concept of poles and zeros is there is a restriction on the final value theorem. What final value theorem says is this computation is possible if and only if all the poles of x of s lie on the left hand side of the S plane. Or in other words, final value theorem fails if the poles of x of s lie on j omega axis or on the right hand side of the S plane. Let me pen it down. Final value theorem cannot be applied, cannot be applied, cannot be applied if poles of x of s lie on j omega axis, or on the RHS right hand side of the S plane. Please note this, on the right hand side of the S plane. So before applying final value theorem, you have to plot the poles of x of s. You have to ensure poles of x of s do not lie on j omega axis, nor they can lie on the right hand side of the S plane. This very important restriction you should remember. Next I will go to functional transforms. Before going to functional transforms, I teach you three important functions. Important singularity functions. Important singularity functions. There are three important singularity functions. They are unit step function, unit ramp function, and unit impulse function. First I will write unit step function. All this you would have studied in maths. Unit step function. How do you define unit step function? U of t is equal to 1 for t greater than 0, 0 for t less than 0. Let me sketch it. X-axis is time, y-axis is u of t. For t less than 0, the function is 0. For t greater than 0, the function is 1. That means the function is not defined at t equal to 0. The function is not defined at t equal to 0. How to find Laplace transform of u of t? Laplace transform of u of t equals u of s equals integration 0 to infinity u of t e to the power minus st dt. What is u of t? Between 0 and infinity, what is u of t? U of t is 1. So integration 0 to infinity 1 into e to the power minus st dt. E to the power minus st, if you integrate, you get e to the power minus st by minus s, limits from 0 to infinity. If you put t equal to infinity, e to the power minus infinity is 0. If you put t equal to 0, e to the power minus st is 1. Therefore, you get a result 1 by s. So Laplace transform of unit step function is 1 by s. This you have to remember. Next is unit ramp function. Unit ramp function. Unit ramp function is defined in this manner. R of t is equal to t for t greater than 0, t greater or equal to 0, 0 for t less than 0. R of t is equal to t for t greater than or equal to 0, 0 for t less than 0. So, x-axis is t, y-axis is r of t. This is like y equal to mx. Y is what? R of t. X is t. Coefficient. What is the equation of a straight line passing through origin? Equation of a straight line passing through origin is y is equal to mx. What is y here? Y here is r of t. What is x? T. So what is coefficient of t? 1. Therefore, you have a straight line with slope equal to 1. With slope equal to 1 for positive time. For negative time, the straight line is absent. This is the mathematical definition of unit ramp function. Let us now find what is Laplace transform of r of t. Laplace transform of r of t is r of s equals integration 0 to infinity r of t into e to the power minus st dt. What is r of t between 0 and infinity? It is, what is the equation of the straight line? Equation of the straight line is t. So this is nothing but integration 0 to infinity t into e to the power minus st dt. You perform integration by parts and put the limits. This is the answer you are going to get. So Laplace transform of ramp function is 1 by s square. Laplace transform of step function is 1 by s. Please note that if you differentiate 1 by s, you get 1 by s square with a minus sign. Forget about the sign for the time being. Why I am telling that is, if you treat step as position, ramp will be velocity. Why it is called velocity? Differentiation of 1 by s results in 1 by s square with a negative sign. Negative sign I have not taken here. So in control system, step function is called positional input, ramp function is called velocity input. The reason being, if you differentiate position, you get velocity in s domain. Please note that. Third function I am going to write is called impulse function. Third one, unit impulse function. Unit impulse function is defined in this manner. Unit impulse function is defined as follows. Delta of t is equal to 0 when t not equal to 0 and integration from minus infinity to plus infinity, delta of t dt is equal to 1. Let me make a sketch of it. X axis is time, y axis is delta of t. Delta of t is 1 at t equal to 0. See, delta of t equal to 0 when t not equal to 0 means delta of t is absent everywhere. It is present only at t equal to 0. Integration from minus infinity to plus infinity, delta of t dt is equal to 1. Please note that this 1 does not represent the amplitude of the impulse. It represents the area under the impulse. Right? The number by the side of the arrow does not indicate the amplitude of the impulse function. Rather, it denotes the area under the impulse function. Important property of unit impulse function called shifting property. shifting. Shifting. It is not shifting, it is called shifting. Shifter means a drainer, which is used for separating coarser particles from finer particles. Shifting property. According to this property, integration minus infinity to plus infinity, x of t into delta of t minus t naught dt is equal to x of t evaluated at t equal to t naught, equal to x of t naught. Say, if you have an impulse function inside an integral, then you require shifting property to evaluate that integral. So if you, for example, integration from minus infinity to plus infinity, x of t delta of t minus t naught dt is equal to x of t evaluated at t equal to t naught, that gives x of t naught. I'll take one example. One example we'll take. Integration minus infinity to plus infinity e to the power minus t delta of t minus 1 dt. Where the impulse is present, if you want to know what is the quantity inside the brackets of the impulse function t minus 1. Put that to 0. T minus 1 equal to 0 gives you t equal to 1. E to the power minus t gets evaluated at t equal to 1. That gives e to the power minus 1. Now using the shifting property, we will now find Laplace transform of impulse function. Using this property, let us find Laplace transform of delta of t. Laplace transform of delta of t equals integration 0 to infinity delta of t e to the power minus st dt. Here e to the power minus st is like x of t. And what is t naught? T naught is 0. So e to the power minus st gets evaluated at t equal to 0. T naught is 0 in this case. So this is nothing but e to the power 0 equal to 1. So Laplace transform of impulse function, rather unit impulse function, is 1. So Laplace transform of impulse is 1. Laplace transform of unit step function is 1 by s. Laplace transform of unit ramp function is 1 by s square. These three Laplace transforms you have to remember. Next I will provide a table of important transforms. X of t, and here it is x of s. First is x of t. I will take it as u of t. First I will take x of t as impulse. Then x of s is 1. U of t 1 by s. R of t. R of t is what? R of t is t. 1 by s square. Here I will write t greater than or equal to 0. U of t is 1 for t greater than or equal to 0. E to the power minus at into u of t will have a Laplace transform 1 over s plus a. Laplace transform of t to the power n. I will write this as t into u of t. Laplace transform of t to the power n into u of t is what? N factorial divided by s to the power n plus 1. Laplace transform of sin at into u of t is a divided by s square plus a square. Laplace transform of cos at into u of t is what? S divided by s square plus a square. Laplace transform of e to the power minus at into sin bt into u of t is what? B divided by s plus a whole square plus b square. Laplace transform of e to the power minus at into cos bt into u of t is s plus a divided by s plus a whole square plus b square. So x of t, there is no need to put this condition t greater than or equal to 0 because I have written u of t everywhere. Please note, in mathematics class, your Laplace transform e power minus at was written as 1 by s plus a. Here I explicitly write u of t to ensure that x of t is present only for positive time. Whether u of t is present or not present, Laplace transform table will not change. But only requirement is if you don't write u of t here, you have to put a condition t is greater or equal to 0. So this table you have to memorize and keep it. Again I repeat, if you don't write u of t, then here you have to write t greater or equal to 0. In other words, Laplace transform of t into u of t, Laplace transform of t are identical and the value is 1 by s square. Next I will teach you how to find inverse Laplace transforms by using partial fraction theory. Simple problem I will take and explain. Find inverse Laplace transform of x of s is equal to s plus 1 divided by s plus 2 into s plus 3. So we will use theory of partial fractions. Solution: let x of s be equal to s plus 1 divided by s plus 2 into s plus 3 be equal to k1 by s plus 2 plus k2 divided by s plus 3, where k1 and k2 are the constants associated with partial fraction expansion and they are found as follows. Where k1 and k2 are the constants associated with partial fraction expansion. PFE means partial fraction expansion and are found as follows. K1 into s plus 3, you take LCM, K1 into s plus 3 plus K2 into s plus 2 is equal to s plus 1. First I will put s is equal to n. See, we have got two unknowns K1 and K2. Put any two arbitrary values of s, you will get two simultaneous equations in terms of K1 and K2 and solve. That is the technique, or whatever you have learnt in POC you can use it. Put s equal to minus 3. If you put s equal to minus 3, this becomes 0, plus this becomes K2 into minus 3 plus 2 is equal to minus 3 plus 1. This implies minus K2 is equal to minus 2. This implies K2 is equal to 2. Next I put s is equal to minus 2. This means K1 into minus 2 plus 3 plus 0 is equal to minus 2 plus 1. So this gives K1 is equal to minus 1. Hence x of s is equal to what is K1? Minus 1 divided by s plus 2. What is K2? K2 is 2 divided by s plus 3. Recall Laplace inverse of 1 over s plus a equals e to the power minus at into u of t. Hence, inverse Laplace of x of s is x of t. Hence, x of t is equal to minus e to the power minus 2t into u of t plus 2 into e to the power minus 3t into u of t. This is how inverse Laplace transform of a function is found by using theory of partial fractions. Correct? Many more problems based on this we will be doing in control systems. Just I have given the basic knowledge of how to find inverse Laplace transform of x of s by using the theory of partial fractions. One more problem I will do. Find inverse Laplace transform of x of s is equal to 4 divided by s square plus 2s plus 2. Please note that b square minus 4ac is less than 0. That means roots of s square plus 2s plus 2 are complex. Here we have to do in a slightly different manner. So what I will do is solution. X of s is equal to 4 divided by s square plus 2s. What is the coefficient of s? Coefficient of s is 2. Divide that by 2. If you divide 2 by 2, you get 1. Add the square of it, subtract the square of it. So we get now, this is done in order to complete the squares. 4 divided by s plus 1 whole square plus 1 square. So this I will write as 4 into 1 over s plus 1 whole square plus 1 square. Recall Laplace inverse of b divided by s plus a whole square plus b square is equal to e to the power minus at into sin bt into u of t. Some people don't write u of t, they write in this manner, e to the power minus at into sin bt, then they put a condition t greater or equal to 0. If you don't write u of t, you have to put this condition. Now in this case, what is a? A is 1. What is b? B is 1. Hence, x of t is equal to 4 into e to the power minus t into sin t into u of t. This is the answer. So here I have found inverse Laplace transformation without using partial fraction theory. So more and more I will take as time progresses. It is a very important subject, quite complicated subject. So please do not miss any classes. Correct? Study this subject correctly. This is required for your post graduation, and this subject plays a very important role in the area of robotics engineering, etc. etc. Correct? Applications of this subject I will do in the end, and importance I will be stressing very now and then. Correct? And actual course will start from the next class. Thank you.